And we are live with another episode of Comic Talk. It's that show brought to you by The Key where we talk about this week's new comic book releases. New DC comics come out on Tuesdays for the time being. New Marvel comics and indie comics, Image comics, all that sort of stuff come out on Wednesday. And we are here on Thursday, June 6th, 2024 to talk about everything that we read this week. I'm your host, Dimithri Perera. If you're watching us live, let us know. Let us know if you're watching us live or if you're listening to the podcast. If you're watching us live, it's on twitch.tv/The Keeg Show or youtube.com/The Keeg Show. Or maybe you listen to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. But no matter what, like, follow, subscribe, click, all the things that you can click and help support this show and The Keeg by an extension. Let me introduce the guests that I have. It's the same duo that was here last month. Literally at the start of the month. So, like, I don't know if this was meant to be or whether you guys are getting tired of each other, but we got Maggie, aka Vegan Super Kick. Maggie,
Hello.
what's up?
Not much, but I'm not tired. This is only my second time with Ambrosia.
It's funny that, like, it didn't happen at all before, and then now it's 2 in a row.
Yeah, I feel like we talked about it too all the time. You would be like, "Have you done the show with Ambrosia? Have you done the show with?" And I'm like, "No, I want to."
Mm-hmm.
So, no, and now we got to do it 2 times in a row.
If the next time, that you guys are on, that you guys aren't on together, it's because one of you complained about the other. I'm just putting it out there. I mean, I would put you guys on another episode, but if one of you complains, then I'll change it.
I'll take a standing appointment with Ambrosia.
Absolutely.
I mean, you guys say that, but you should hear what you say about each other.
Oh my God.
That is false. Listen, I just learned about snark subreddits, and don't start it.
What does that mean? What is a snark subreddit? I don't even know.
Where mean people tell not true things, so don't be starting
mean people tell
untrue statements.
Okay. All right. So,
I learned about them. Doesn't mean I know everything.
Yeah, you. I feel like for a teacher, you should be able to properly tell me what this snark subreddit is, but I'm still confused.
Same.
Who did I not introduce is Ambrosia, aka Comics and Cupcakes. You doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing fabulous. Yeah, I'm on summer vacation, living the dream.
Yeah. Like summer vacation?
Yeah, like summer break.
Nice. Is that a long break, or do you teach classes?
I do like online trainings and stuff. So in the summer, we have to do like a certain amount of hours of training. So I still have school, but I get to do it from home.
That's cool.
So that's fabulous. Yeah.
Okay. All right. This show is about the comics that we read this week. And I've already prepped everything. So you guys tell me what comics you read this week, and we'll talk about all of them.
Well, I know for sure Ambrosia's list is way longer than...
And you can't even say that because last time your list was like ginormous. And I think now we're like
never
happens. At the same pace.
Was that the week? That was one of my 2 weeks where I barely read anything, right? Was that?
I think you read like 2 comics that week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've made up for it with this week.
Go ahead.
So, you know.
And to be fair, I am on summer break, so I was able to read more than what I typically had been able to.
Okay.
That's true.
Yeah. And there's always like comics that we want to read and we never get to. So like,
yes,
you know, some of the books that you guys read, I'm sure I would have wanted to read. I just didn't get a chance. You know,
I'm also the queen of not asking for things to be pulled. And then like I'll do this show and realize that there was like 2 things that I forgot to pick up.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it happens.
Every time.
Do you guys ever get convinced to read something like right after this show? And you're
absolutely.
Like, you know, and then you're like, oh. Like,
yeah.
Because I binged Once Upon a Time at the End of the World. Because, was it last episode? Manny told me about it. And I was like, all right, 15 issues just finished. I'll binge it. So, it was cute.
No, that was, I think it was Maggie, you recommended Wonder Boy last time when you talked about it. And so I got issue 1 and then it was fabulous, and I never got issue 2 again.
Well, that
because
came
I
out
forgot to
this
have them pull it.
Yeah, I know. I think did it come out this week?
Okay, you said Wonder Boy, and I was like, "What's Wonder Boy? You mean the Boy Wonder?"
The Boy Wonder. Yes.
I knew what you meant.
I thought it was some
Thank
new
you,
indie
thank you.
title because that sounds like, you know.
Wonder Boy.
Oh, it is. It's such a hipster title. I didn't know you didn't know that.
That I've never even heard of this title. Okay.
My bad.
And I have to prep this show, so I was like, oh.
Well, I'm glad we both forgot about it. But maybe next
the Boy Wonder, that was a book I meant to read this week too, and I even prepped, I think, the images, but I didn't get to read it. So, what did we read this week? Do you guys want me to go first? Is there a lot of pressure to go first? Okay.
Yes.
kind of. Yeah.
Okay. So I read Birds of Prey 10. I read Get Fury #2. I read Amazing Spider-Man 51. I read part of Blood Hunters 2. I wanted to read it, but I didn't get a chance to finish it. I also read Wolverine Blood Hunt #1, X-Men 35, Scarlet #1 from Image Comics by way of Skybound Comics by way of the Energon universe. Batman 148, The Ultimates #1, Shazam 12. I didn't get a chance to read The Boy Wonder 2, but I prepped the image for it and didn't get to it. Miss Marvel, The Mutant Menace 4, and My Adventures of Superman #1. And then I skimmed through Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Alpha, because the new run, Jason Aaron's new run, starts like next month or something. And that's all I got.
You got a lot done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. There's nothing to say.
That was a great.
I had to make up for the last time that you guys came, and I was like, I let you guys down with just 2
I
comments.
was shocked. Yeah. I wasn't disappointed. I was just shocked.
Yeah. Life gets in the way sometimes. This week, not.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
And this last weekend. So I tend to overbook myself just in life. And so sometimes I'm like, oh, I feel bad that I have like a free Saturday night where I just stay at home. But then I make the most out of it. And I binge 15 comic series. And, I get that done. So I'm, that's my list. What did you guys read this week?
Perfect.
Go ahead.
I could go. Okay. I did. Yeah, sorry. But not as long as Dimitri's. I think you beat me. But again, it's not a competition.
It's not a competition.
I did The Amazing Spider-Man issue #51. Blood Hunters issue #2. Wolverine Blood Hunt issue #1. Star Wars 47. What If Aliens issue #4. What If Venom issue #5. Venom issue #34. Carnage issue #5.
Issue
and then
number 8,
I
think,
was
right.
Yes. Sorry.
Okay. Sorry.
Right. And then I was halfway done through Star Wars: The High Republic. I wasn't able to finish Uncanny X-Men.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Yeah. Did you read The Walking Dead Deluxe 90?
No, I have it right here.
Did you read? I'm trying to remember what else was on your list. Okay, yeah.
I think the only 3 I finished. The only 2 I completely didn't read was The Walking Dead Deluxe and Uncanny X-Men, and then half of Star Wars.
Okay. All right, cool. That is good. By the way, I remember what I read this week that I forgot to mention because I forgot that I read it because I only read it because Ambrosia was reading it. Is Venom 34? Because it was
cool.
Blood Hunt tie-in, and you were reading it, so I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. But I don't like symbiotes, so.
You don't?
Nope, not at all.
Really?
Yeah, I do like Blood Hunt though. I love all the Blood Hunt stuff. So why don't you like symbiotes? Because they're so overplayed, and like now we've gotten to the point of like symbiote gods and stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, like they expanded the mythos like crazy. And I'm not blaming anyone for liking it. It's just not my cup of tea. Because suddenly
Absolutely.
everybody got a symbiote.
Well, yeah, and I think that was because of the whole the King in Black. That the whole King in Black arc that really, I think, was like the big starting point of like everyone could be venomized, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really the start of it. And then yeah, I definitely could see that. But I am always a Venom and Carnage diehard.
I know.
And so, but thank you so much for reading it and
Yeah. It was the
keeping
perfect
up with the
storm. It was like
storyline.
you read it. It was a Blood Hunt tie-in. And I've been really
Yeah.
liking Blood Hunt. And like,
And
okay.
it also didn't feel like a Blood Hunt tie-in either. I didn't think
Well,
so.
there was that side story with the one kid.
Yeah.
And the priest, who I felt really bad for. We'll talk about it when we talk about it. Last but not least, Maggie, what do we got?
Bringing up the rear. Also,
Whoa, I didn't bring up any. No, I'm taking a sexual harassment course. It says you cannot bring up anyone's rear. So
before I get into my list, I just want to say I am in the same room as my basset hound, who makes a lot of noise, like a lot of grumbles and grunts. So if that for some reason picks up, it's not me. I'm not bored by your conversation. It's just he's old and
just like deep sighs.
Yeah, he's literally he's 12, so like, he's lived. But yeah, a couple times now he's just been like, "Bruh," and I'm like, oh, like, should I mute? Anyway,
is that Droopy in the background? Oh boy.
Yeah, right. It's literally
no.
He's very verbal.
Okay.
I read Profane #1 from Boom Studios, Get Fury #2, Birds of Prey #10, Poison Ivy 23, and the DC Pride celebration of Rachel Pollack. Wanted to read Boy Wonder and forgot to get it. And then you said something else, Dimitri. Was it the My Adventures with Superman?
Oh, My Adventures with Superman is good, yeah.
I have to go back to the comic shop. That's what, 3?
I mean, I recommend Scarlet #1. I really do.
Yeah. I'm gonna go get that.
And I'll talk about it. But like, I don't know what your guys' picks of the week are. Let's get to it. At this point in the show, if I ever have like someone like Drew or Manny, we're just talking about some random topic for the first 30 minutes of the show, and then we're like, we got 20 minutes left to talk about all the comics we read this week. Oh, okay. So now we got a little bit more time. What did what's our picks of the week?
I want to go last.
Okay.
I have less to pick from, so I'll go first. I really enjoyed the Rachel Pollack celebration from the DC Pride. Okay. I thought that was fun. And it's 2 reprints of her work, but I had never read them before.
Yeah.
We had Doom Patrol #70, which was Kate Godwin's first appearance, and then the Vertigo Visions, like the Geek #1 from like the 90s, which I had never read either of those, but I think that was my pick of the week just because it gave me a really great respect for Rachel Pollack's writing. I wasn't really familiar with it. So
I'm not familiar with Rachel Pollack's writing at all. I know that she died recently, right? She passed away?
Like a year ago, yeah.
Okay. And then I know that she created a character named Coagula. And Coagula is a trans character?
The first transgender superhero, yes.
Okay. And I don't know anything about Coagula at all.
That's why I got it, because I thought it was only about Coagula.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just Rachel Pollack's writing, but it made me very interested in Coagula. Now I want to read that Doom Patrol run, but yeah. I think
Doom Patrol's always been the comic to like push boundaries and like a lot of that, whether it's Rachel Pollack's work or Grant Morrison, And I'm sure there are many, many other writers on Doom Patrol. But Doom Patrol found, I don't know if you guys know this, and I mean, let me know if you did know this. Like Doom Patrol and X-Men came out around the same time, like back in the day, and they were almost the same comic, and Doom Patrol was outselling X-Men. The first run of X-Men didn't do very well, to the point where they canceled the series and just reprinted old X-Men comics with new numbering. So there's like 25 issues. No, there's more than 25 issues of like just reprints. Anyway, Doom Patrol was doing really good, and it was just a classic superhero thing. But then X-Men came back, outsold Doom Patrol. At a certain point, Doom Patrol got canceled, and then came back with a more trippy kind of boundary-pushing aesthetic. Where I assume Coagula fits in.
Yes, 100%.
I don't like the name Coagula. Is it blood related?
No,
Okay.
it's one of her powers.
Okay.
What's her powers?
She can coagulate anything.
Oh, gross.
She can also dissolve stuff, which I think is really cool.
So she can firm up liquids and she could liquefy things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I also really like the name.
I just think of blood, and I'm not a big fan of blood. But okay, cool. All right. That was also just an interesting choice, not for pick of the week, but from DC to put out the kind of compilation tribute book. So
yeah,
good on DC for that. You know. My pick, then I'll go before Ambrosia. It has to be X-Men 35, which is legacy numbering 700. I'm sad. I'm sad the Krakoan age is over. This was the epilogue book, because it kind of like finished with Fall of the House of X number 5, and then Rise of the Powers of X number 5. And then there was this book. And this book's just kind of the epilogue to kind of guide us into what the next era is going to be. And I'm kind of sad because it's literally been 5 years.
I know. And that book alone was like ginormous. But those series have been going on forever.
I mean, the Krakoan age was just so tight, and like it got a little messy at the end, but like most of it was just super tight storytelling, and I'm sad to see it go, especially because like it was through the pandemic, it was through, you know. And so there's not much I can say about this book that I guess I won't, I'll cover it on next week's State of X, where we'll talk about the Krakoan age, but it's sad. I don't know. There were some good things that I was that happened in this book, but a lot of it was just a farewell issue, and you know, a big bad mutant who had been working with the X-Men throughout this Krakoan age went back to being bad, because he was like, I don't know if you guys want spoilers.
I don't mind them.
Go ahead.
Okay. Apocalypse has been working with the X-Men since the Krakoan age. The Krakoan age has been like all the bad guys and good guys essentially are working towards a common goal. But then the Krakoa is over, so Apocalypse is like, well, I guess that didn't work. Back to what I normally do. And so that ties in with Heir to Apocalypse, which is a new miniseries coming out in like a couple weeks. So anyway, that's my pick of the week, is X-Men 35. It's not something you just jump into, though. Like this final issue of this final era. Just wait it out, and I'm very excited for the new comics coming up, because new readers will be able to hop on it. Including, if you guys, this might be the time to like hop in and keep up.
Very much so, especially because I have like piles of X-Men comics. I've been getting all the Power of X and House of X stuff for years. And then I just felt like there was never a great time to like jump on. And so I have them all. I just am super behind on reading them.
Yeah.
It's the tie-ins for me. I would commit to it, but then I'm forgetful.
Yeah.
So I forget to get 3 different tie-ins that come out in a week. I'm a trade reader when it comes to that stuff.
Okay. Are you gonna are you gonna hop on the X-Men train back on it with the new start?
I would love to. We've talked about this before because I'm a fan of a lot of the creative teams that are gonna be on the new X-Men stuff.
Right.
Gail Simone,
Eve L. Ewing.
yeah, yeah. So like
Yeah.
I'm in. I'll definitely jump in
Mm-hmm.
when this new era starts.
Also, like, and I keep telling it to all my friends who like that sort of thing, is that like the whole girls and the gays thing very much applies to X-Men. Very much, you know.
Yeah.
It was my friend Sarah, Miss Marauder, and I was like, she's a huge Star Wars fan. I'm like, you like Star Wars, but you want it to be gayer? Then X-Men might be for you. Like, I don't know. There's like, I don't know. There's a crossover there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for what's to come. Ambrosia,
Hi.
what's your pick of the week? You gotta choose.
I'm actually going with What If Aliens, issue number 4.
Was it actually good?
I have been enjoying this because, for one, I love aliens, and they're also coming up with, was it Aliens versus Avengers coming up, which is just going to be insane.
Wait, Aliens versus Avengers or Predators?
Shit! Is it Predators?
It's Predator, I think. Avengers versus Predator.
I like Predator as well. Both of those are right up my alley. And so I think I love the What If series. And so what did we get to? There's another What If Venom.
Yeah.
That one was probably one of my least favorite. So that was my least pick of the week, was What If Venom. But then my top pick of the week was What If Aliens. And so in this we have...
Oh, wait, no. Wait, is it? It is Avengers versus Aliens coming out.
That's what I thought, because it was a double A. It was like AVA.
I'm looking at it right now. You're right. It is Avengers vs. Aliens, because Wolverine just fought Predator in his miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
But
and now we're having Aliens versus Avengers, which in the real world, I feel like Aliens would win, but in yeah, like they're fucking aliens.
They can't fly though. You just float and you just like throw me over.
Okay, but hear me out. What if we have Blood Hunt mixed in with aliens against the Avengers?
Well, I don't know. Even Blood Hunt, they've like given certain vampires extra powers so they can actually fight against the Avengers. But a normal vampire, just like a lowly kind of vermin sort of vampire, doesn't stand a chance, right?
No. So. But it'd be pretty cool. So, lots of blood.
Okay.
So, obviously, this one is focused around Carter Burke and the what if Carter Burke didn't die.
That's what's his name, the actor. It's not Rob Reiner. It's Paul Reiser.
And Paul Reiser is actually he's concept by Paul Reiser, so he had a large part of this as well. He's not the writer, but he was the concept by. So all the which is pretty cool. He did that.
Okay. But you said, what if Venom sucked?
Oh my gosh!
Might as well just talk about it right now.
I don't want to say like it sucked, because maybe someone out there really enjoyed it.
I mean, it sucked for you. That's fine.
It sucked for me. Because we have like what if going back to how everyone's getting venomized.
Yeah.
So we had a venomized Loki, and then he started like this mental war with Moon Knight and his various personalities. And it just didn't. It just kind of fell flat. It ended better than what it started, though. But I enjoy Venom quite a bit, and this was a big flop on my end.
The cover looks cool. The cover looks really cool, because it's like a venomized Moon Knight, and his cape becomes the eyes of Venom on the cover. Yeah. It's a cool cover. Like,
I think that's what saved. What was a huge part of it is the artwork. I mean, we have She-Hulk in here, and like they just do a great job with everyone getting venomized. Yeah. But it also gets to the point of we also have a Venom issue that came out this week that was very similar, but not at the same time. I don't know. So what if Venom just was not that great? But I've enjoyed the What If Aliens just because it feels like it left out like right where obviously where Carter Burke died. But there was like the comedy in there. It's like a dark but very humorous. And also like you get to see the relationship between him and his daughter. Also, he like because when he died, he was in the xenomorph and he was like cocooned inside, and then it blew up and destruction. And he found himself in like the same scenario, but plot twist, he didn't die.
That's the what if part, right?
Yeah, but then like he was in the same situation again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, with his daughter and her boy.
Wait, is he a human or?
Mm-hmm.
He's a human. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen the Alien movies because I get scared.
What?
I get scared.
Dude, you need to watch the OG.
I've seen some Predator movies, like Prey. Prey was really good, but like, I get scared.
No, you have to watch Sigourney Weaver and Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I know what happens, you know.
Yeah, but like
the
Sigourney
famous
Weaver,
lines, you know. Take your
and it's directed by
damn
James
aliens
Cameron.
off me, you damn dirty alien.
You gotta watch them, like, I guess, with the lights on.
Oh, but then that makes
It's
it easier for the alien to see me in the light.
You gotta have your
I'm not gonna lie. I'm really surprised you've never watched them.
Yeah, I'll get to them.
How have you been able to watch like Prey and not?
I mean, I've seen
Alien.
Predator. Like, I haven't seen the first Predator. I've technically seen the second Predator, and then I've seen Prey. I think that was, and I've read the comics. Like, I'm like, I'll read horror comics, but horror, movies, little less so.
Really?
I get scared.
Oh my gosh, you should have seen. Okay, so you've been to Disneyland, right?
Yeah.
And you know how they have the Lilo and Stitch ride?
I get
like
scared.
the Stitch ride.
No, I'm just...
Okay, that one used to be an alien ride. That one was terrifying.
Oh, at Disney World?
Was it Disney World? Yes. Disney
Okay,
World.
I've never been to Disney World. I live
I'm so
next to
sorry.
Disneyland, so I was like, "What ride is this?" But okay.
Sorry, it's a Lilo and Stitch ride, and so they turned it into like a good alien. But before it used to be like a scary alien, and that one scared the bejeebus out of me because they used like the alien, and it used to like put the pressure on your. It was wild.
Ooh,
it was great.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I see why they changed it, but you should watch like the good old Sigourney Weaver,
Okay.
Bill Paxton, because it's
Co-sign.
I
co-sign this.
When are you guys
absolutely,
gonna
it's
come to
just-
California and we can do a movie night? You know,
We'll have a Disneyland meetup.
Tony came to say hi.
Hey, Tony. Hey, Tony.
Hey, Tony. Oh my God. What a handsome
Look at those little
smile.
peepers.
Is he a pug?
He's a pug chihuahua mix.
Oh.
Stop.
Yeah, he's a mess. He's an
I
abomination.
love that so much.
Just popped his little head up.
He's a pug. A pugwagwa.
I think the biblical term is chug.
Oh, that. Yeah, it was one or the other. You know.
Yeah.
You're close.
Poison Ivy 23. Maggie, I feel like that's like one of your big books.
I'm a ride or die for this Poison Ivy run for sure. Have you? I know that you are behind.
Yeah.
Okay, but you.
It's great. I am behind.
Yeah. I don't want to spoil anything for you because this is like. I feel like last time we talked, I was like, we're nearing the end of this arc, and like this is the end of this arc.
What's the premise of this arc?
Right now, so a couple issues ago, we got like our updated origin for Poison Ivy, and where she essentially gets groomed and like falls in love with Jason Woodrue. Yeah. And I'm trying to remember the details of it all because like the origin got like stuck in the middle of this other storyline that was going on. But my dog is about to jump on the couch. It's gonna be a struggle.
I was so excited.
It's a mess. So she's been fighting with him and using like all the little lamias that she was dropping in like the first couple of issues.
Yeah. Didn't
She's
she
kind of like
already fight him in like issue 6 or 8 or something? Didn't she already
kind
fight?
of,
Okay.
but didn't he like go back to the green or like
Maybe.
something? He disappeared, but he didn't die,
Okay.
right? And so this issue and the last one, like after these origin retellings, they've been in the swamp with Killer Croc and Solomon Grundy fighting him, and she's figured out that, she is in control of all of these little lamias that she's been, the spores. So he finally gets defeated in this particular issue, but I don't want to tell you what else happens because it's spoiler stuff.
Okay, I'll binge it. I'll catch up.
You should, because like
I
this is
do.
23 is it's pivotal. Well, I wouldn't say it's like a definite end. Like we got to figure out what happened here, but this would be a good point to get up to and then wait for another issue.
Okay.
So,
all right,
yeah,
I'll do that. I like this comic, and I'm sure they had done it previously, and that's what led in. But like the update to Jason Woodrue, like tying their stories together, because like originally their origins weren't tied together. He was just a different plant-based villain, and
yeah,
I could be
so.
wrong. The first time we ever see Jason Woodrue and Poison Ivy have a shared origin is in Batman and Robin, the movie.
I don't know. I know that her origins changed a couple times.
Yeah.
And like this is pretty much like an updated version of like whatever Neil Gaiman gave her, I think, at some point in time. I think maybe that's when he was, I don't know. I can't remember.
I mean,
now.
maybe, yeah. I mean, I could be talking out of my ass. All I know is that the Floronic Man didn't start off as like he wasn't, I think is he a Green Lantern villain? No, he's a Atom villain. I think he's a Ray Palmer Atom villain. Anyway, point being is it didn't tie in with Pamela, but I remember in the movie, Batman and Robin, we're talking the Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze one, Ice to meet you. It has Jason Woodrue as the scientist in the beginning who like experimented.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's good. I like it.
Yeah.
I like this updated origin for her. It's just a good time. I'll ride hard for this comic series.
I'm trying to look it up, but oh no, okay. So the Neil Gaiman in 1988, he had a mini series called Black Orchid, which has Jason Woodrue teach botany to like Swamp Thing. Wait, Swamp Thing or Man Thing? Swamp Thing, and Pamela Isley and whatnot. So that's what. Okay, so 88. So that's well before 19.
So this is kind of like a play off that. Yeah.
Okay, very nice. I need to catch up. So
you need, you should.
Ambrosia, you mentioned Venom.
Hi. Yes.
They have like
you
two
didn't like this one.
storylines.
Oh
no, I mean it was fine. I liked the kid and the priest storyline. I feel really bad for the priest. I feel bad for anyone who turns into a vampire and then dies because of their vampirism. Because like you could be a good person and you get turned to a vampire and then you're just like the nastiest person, and then you sure you deserve to die, but also you weren't bad before you turned into a vampire.
No, and that makes me sad because he had a lot going for him. And no, I enjoyed this quite a bit. You're just straight up, you didn't like symbiotes, and that's completely fine.
I don't like that Meridius guy or whatever his name is.
Oh yes. Oh, I forgot.
That guy, I know he wears pants, but he looks like he wouldn't wear pants. You know?
Oh no, he definitely wouldn't. He would be that guy at the gym who wears like the least amount as possible.
Yeah, he's in the locker room and like he's just walking around with his symbiote dong, you know?
We used to have a guy at work. Never mind.
Wait, what?
Anyways,
What?
no,
Okay.
no. Like any staff meeting we had that was like right after school, he was definitely like this guy, and he would like change his clothes within seconds into like these very like into almost nothing, just like a tank top and shorts. Like all of us are in like our professional clothes, and here's he because he's like, sorry, I have to go meet basketball practice,
Oh.
and he like this is him to a T. Anyways, I don't. Like I know this sounds really cheesy.
Yeah.
He reminds me of who is Loki and Thor's sister in
Hela.
Yes, thank you. He reminds me of like her.
Because doesn't he have a headdress of some sort, like a
Yes.
thing? Yeah.
Yes, it looks like the symbiote like symbol.
Yeah.
Yes, but I like where it ended because we're coming up with Venom War, which is also going to be a big tie-in with Carnage.
Ooh, my favorite.
You hate? Why don't you like Carnage?
Because he's so one note. He's a serial killer that has a symbiote. Like Venom is more interesting.
No, he's like okay, Grant. Venom is very interesting, but
I also like Flash Thompson, Agent Venom. I thought that was an interesting storyline.
But here's the thing: is Flash Thompson is in Carnage right now. Have you been keeping up with Carnage?
No, I don't like Carnage.
I don't know. I don't like things either that I keep up with.
No, I don't know what's going on with Carnage.
Okay, so Flash Thompson is in from this. He's returning from the reality of the Dark Force dimension. Lands on the stage of this black metal concert, right? And then Carnage follows. And he long story short, Flash is anti-Venom and fights to save who he trying to save who he could to stop Carnage, and then you have anti-Venom. And then you have Liz Allen over here as Misery, and she arrives with like a weapon, and she killed both her and Carnage. And then Flash gains the upper hand, and then he blasted a hole through the Carnage and disintegrated him. So then Carnage has to blow. He was blown up by smithereens by Liz Allen, and then now he's like crawling through the sewer and the storm drains, and then everyone is becoming Carnage.
Oh, okay.
But
again,
for someone who, yes. Okay, but here's the difference.
Becoming Carnage again, like. Always do we need a Venom War when like we have King in Black, we have like all these like big events where like the symbiotes get on everyone.
Yeah, okay, but here's the difference. Zone. Here's the difference.
Yeah.
This is written by Corinne Grenbeck, and I love her. Like she has
is that a Game
been
of
writing
character?
No, but she is from Ireland, Scotland.
Okay.
Sweden, I don't know, somewhere really cool. And so I absolutely adore her as like a human and as a person. And so she's writing this, and I think that's why I've also been enjoying it so much more, because she's just a super rad writer. Mm-hmm. And yeah.
Okay.
So, but we see Flash Thompson in here, and he's going through like a whole new rebirth of his own.
That's cool. He's Agent Anti-Venom, right? Like he looks like Agent Venom, but it's white suit, right? Isn't that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like Flash. Now
I love Flash. So we're gonna have a Venom War that's gonna be tying in with Carnage, and we're gonna have a big Venom War. But maybe this time is going to be better than all the other times we've seen it.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm being hopeful because we have Corinne Grenbeck.
Yeah. Did you guys see the Venom 3 trailer?
No.
I know it's out, but I haven't watched it.
Okay. It's a really good example of like when you can't include Spider-Man in the movie, what stories can you tell with Venom? So
I just wish that they would stop.
I think this is supposed to be the last one, I think. It's called Venom the Last Ride or whatever. The Last Dance or something. It's called like Venom the Last Dance, I think.
I gotta look it up.
And then you have Tobey Maguire doing the Venom dance in here. That would be the Last Dance.
Yeah, it's Venom: The
Last
Last Dance. It's so wild. All right. A really good book that I read this week that I wasn't expecting to, and I was gonna give it a shot because it was a #1, was Scarlet. And that is Scarlet from G.I. Joe, but they've rebooted this kind of continuity to include the Transformers. So it's what Image Comics is calling the Energon universe. So this is issue 1, and this is before she gets hired by the G.I. Joes. So she's just like, essentially, like, she looks just like Black Widow. She has red hair. She's going on like secret agent missions, and like, but it was compelling. Like, and the art is really good, and I shared some of the art on the Keegs Instagram. Like, there's a splash page of her just fighting ninjas. It's really good, and it's compelling in a way that like sometimes Black Widow is not compelling in, and it just made me want because they can't do like G.I. Joe movies properly. Like, they always like mess up. I wish they would just do a movie, and they wouldn't even call it G.I. Joe. I wish they would just do a movie called Scarlet about her, and like not say it's a G.I. Joe movie until the end where like we find out. Just call it Scarlet and have it be about a female secret agent like kicking ass, and just focus on telling a good story, and then like bring her into G.I. Joe stuff.
Yeah. I don't know much about like G.I. Joe.
You don't have to, because it always changes depending on what era of G.I. Joe.
Right. I know. I've been interested in this like Energon.
Energon. Yeah.
Been really interested.
Energon's the power source that Transformers use.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I wish I could like I read the first couple issues of Daniel Warren Johnson's Transformers, but other than that, I haven't really been super plugged into this whole thing, and now I have regrets.
Did you like the Transformers one?
I did like what I read. I honestly just fell off of it. You know what I mean?
I'd recommend continuing with that one.
Yeah.
They're coming up with a lot of like solo G.I. Joe books. So technically right now in the Energon universe, we have Transformers, we have Void Rivals, which I heard is good. Because it just tangentially like bumps up on Transformers mythos. Then we have Duke, who's one of the G.I. Joe characters, but he has his solo series. We have Cobra Commander, which is the bad guy. Then we have Scarlet now, and then Destro is getting his own book soon. And I think that's like the books in the Energon universe so far. Duke is okay. Cobra Commander is whatever. Not a big fan of those books. But Transformers is really good, and Scarlet's really good. I would say those are my two tops. I also haven't read Void Rivals past the first issue, so I heard it's really good.
Void Rivals really, I've heard really good things about it.
So if I'm gonna buy into the hype, then those are probably the top 3: Scarlet, Transformers, Void Rivals.
I will definitely try to get caught up on some of that this summer, because it does look really good. And again, like the creative teams on them are great.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of good in this one, so I do recommend it. Birds of Prey #10. Are you Maggie read it, but Ambrosia didn't, right?
No.
You're not a Birds of Prey fan, huh, Ambrosia?
Oh no, I think it's great.
Oh, are you reading it?
No. I think okay, let me rephrase. I'm not a fan. Oh my gosh, shut up. That is, I'm gonna write that in my snark subreddit once I figure out what it is. No, it's not that I don't like it. I just haven't jumped onto that ship, and I need to.
You also don't read much DC, if at all, right?
No. I think I've always been intimidated because I started like when I read in high school. I got really big into Marvel, and then there's so much lore and everything in DC that I was scared to like touch the waters. And so over the years, I have been. But I read a lot of Black labels that come out. Those are always my favorite. But
yeah.
I get that. Okay. I'm trying to think of like
time.
Wait, would you say?
Go ahead.
Ambrosia?
Oh, me? I don't know what I said. I'm sorry.
Okay. Maggie?
Oh, I was gonna say that I was the same way for a really long time. Like Dimithri probably remembers when I first started doing Comic Talk, I was like, I don't read DC, it's too much. But I would only read, and I still really only read like solo books. Like I don't really do team books. This is really the only team book I read from DC right now.
Oh, and that's interesting because Dimithri, you love team books.
I love team books.
Yeah,
I love team books. But like DC also is not doing Justice League right now. And that's like a big team book that like is missing. But I do love team books. A lot. So DC has good stuff though. So, you know.
Oh no, absolutely. And I love their writing team and everything. And then I hate how sometimes you have to pick and choose because comics get expensive.
Yeah.
And so typically if it's like a book that I want to read, I'll wait until it's in
trade.
Shit, what is it called? Thank you.
Yeah. Ambrosia, what's another good book that you read this week?
Star Wars. Well, we both read Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I surprisingly liked this one.
Why do you sound so shocked?
Because recently, The Amazing Spider-Man hasn't been the best series.
Yes. No, but I love the Sinister Six, and so anytime that we have them together, it's pretty good.
Yeah. I love what happens in this issue. Well, what happened in the previous, I guess, is that the sins of Norman got into Peter. Is that kind of what happened? Or no, or Peter goes crazy with the Goblin Serum. I forget exactly what happened.
No, you're right. The sins of Norman latches onto Peter, and then he starts having the bad dreams.
I forget, but yeah,
that was like one of the first ones I read this week. But we have the living brain, and then it killed itself, and
then it's reborn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that part's been pretty cool.
I like where they're going in with destruction versus what we've seen previously.
Yeah, I like the Kamala scene where Kamala.
Oh, yes, yeah. I love that they added that in and it's just I really like that she could play like the ditzy teenager, but it's all a ploy, and she's so incredibly smart, and we get to see her in action as well to help Peter. No, I forgot about that. That was fabulous to see.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump to Miss Marvel: The Mutant Menace #4, which is Miss Marvel her solo series miniseries. There's been 2 miniseries. There's Mutant Menace is the second miniseries, and so it ends with Medusa, Karnak from the Inhumans. They show up. They have to essentially give her the Terrigen Mist again because her powers are wonky because she got resurrected by the mutants, but her mutant power hasn't manifested itself. And I mean, I guess long story short, everybody's been wondering what her mutant power is that hasn't manifested yet, but then a clone of hers pops up, and that clone has her mutant powers on top of her inhuman powers, which are hard-like constructs like what she has in the show. So it's a weird reveal. Like, they revealed the reveal, but she doesn't have it. So then, like, you just kind of revealed it, but I don't know. There wasn't much payoff. It kind of just ends. It is what it is. I don't know. Wasn't a fan of this issue of this one. The art's really good, though.
Okay.
Yeah. I realized, Maggie, we didn't talk about Birds of Prey 10.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any thoughts? Are you liking it?
I am liking it. Yeah. I feel like so Birds of Prey #9 was out the last time I was on, and it was like kind of filler, a little exploratory of whatever they had going on.
Yeah.
just like portal situation they were in.
Yeah.
But I did like issue 10. I'm intrigued. Did you like it?
Yeah, it revealed a little bit more about like the bad person and like the new girl that came in with the pink hair.
Yeah, she's cool.
And then they tied it in with like they're kind of, it's a pocket dimension, but like they're from the future. So
Yeah, I thought that was interesting how it took on the form, like the ideas of whoever stepped into it first. Like
yeah,
Barda turned it into like a 1950s situation. Barda was like, I have great taste.
yeah,
Yeah, no,
uh,
I'm interested for sure.
yeah. I like Big Barda. Anytime Big Barda gets airplay, you know, um,
Yeah.
And Vixen also, because I did a TikTok before this book came out. I did a TikTok. Basically, somebody was like, "Well, what if DC had Marvel had a book called A Force, which was like the all-female Avengers team,
Mhm.
and like there was some like pretty badass heroes in that team. And so somebody online was like, "Oh, what if DC had it? Like if DC had an all-female Justice League essentially." And somebody brought up Birds of Prey, and I said, and some other people had said, like, Birds of Prey to me are like a ground level team. Like it's an all female, but it's very like it's fighting.
Like your defenders, kind of like your
It's very street level, right? But this lineup, like anytime you put Big Barda on something, you're gonna punch a god. Like that's Big Barda's thing. So it was weird to me that Big Barda and then this lineup is Birds of Prey, but I think that's what they're going for. They're kind of retooling instead of street level Birds of Prey. They're like a bit higher up, right?
Yeah. I think it's a great team up right now. And I mean, it's changed a little bit because it was Harley and
Zealot.
Yeah.
And Zealot left, but Zealot's coming back, right?
Yeah, I wonder like how often, like if they will change it a lot or if it'll kind of rotate just as it needs to. I think that'll be interesting. So
yeah.
But I'm with you. I like Barda a lot.
Yeah. Barda was one of my picks for like if I did like a 7-member all-female Justice League. Barda and Vixen. Actually, this has most of my picks, actually. I'm trying to think of who my picks are. Cassandra Cain.
Yeah.
Black Canary, Barda, and Vixen, I think, were 4 of my like 7-person all-female Justice League teams. So
I definitely want to stand back to back with Barda. Like, no matter what's going on. I don't want her to be mad at me.
Oh, I was like, what are we talking about here? Are we talking about comic book crushes? I was like, what are
Well, no.
Well, on this episode of comic book crushes, that should be our entry question. Who's your crush of the week?
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, that is a good one.
Yeah. Why, you guys have a crush of the week?
Always.
Ambrosia, is it Venom? What?
No, it's Carter Burke.
Who's Carter
He
Burke?
may be 78. Oh, if you watched Aliens, you would understand.
Oh, it's okay. So yeah, I'm sorry. He's your comic book crush?
No, I'm just kidding, baby. He's very smart.
Okay. I'm trying to think of like out of this week who would be my comic book crush. Out of like everything that came out this week, probably Scarlet. She was pretty badass. So, you know, for the sake of time, we'll pick up the pace on some of these books that we got to get through. Ambrosia, you read Wolverine Blood Hunt #1?
Yeah,
I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Good. I think we agree on something.
Oh,
no,
okay.
I did. It was fabulous. This was one of like the tie-ins with Blood Hunt that I've really enjoyed. I think they're. Oh yeah. I think it's been like a hit or miss with some of them.
Really, what's been a miss? Because I thought like I've been thinking the Blood Hunt tie-ins have been pretty good. What's been a miss for you?
Was it Blood Hunt Moon Knight?
Oh, I didn't read that one, so
I didn't even read it. Because I'm not the biggest like Moon Knighter.
Oh,
maybe that's why. Like I enjoyed Moon Knight, but it just wasn't my favorite. And so I knew that I wouldn't pick it up, or I just So I didn't read that one. So I can't say that it wasn't that great because I didn't read it. I just didn't pick it up. So that was an untrue statement. I'm going to revoke before someone puts it on my snark Reddit. Just kidding. I don't have one. But no, I think Wolverine was fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because right now, before this new era of X-Men kind of starts up, we get these like Blood Hunt tie-ins to kind of tide us over. The same thing happened before the Krakoan Age, where War of Realms came out, and like there was an X-Men War of Realms tie-in to kind of like bridge the gap between what the era before Krakoa and then Krakoa. So like now it's like, okay, we got Blood Hunt to kind of tide us over. The Blood Hunt tie-ins have been really good. And this one is Wolverine against vampires. The art is amazing.
I just love Logan and his personality.
Yeah.
And I think it fit really well.
If any X-Men should be like fighting vampires, like, yeah, Wolverine.
Oh yeah, who else was in there?
Well, they introduced a new character, or at least who I think is a new character. This French woman with a crossbow.
She looked like
Joan of Arc.
That sounds like my comic book crush of the week.
Oh.
Yeah.
You should read it then. It's only issue 1. And then Maverick shows up at the end. Maverick, the Weapon X mercenary. And he's been turned. A lot of these people have been turned, which is actually kind of funny about the Blood Hunt tie-ins, is like they can't like figure out whether, like, the writers, I feel they're writing from 2 different points of view. One is that these people are going to be saved from being a vampire. Like, if you're turned, you can turn back. Maybe there'll be something down the line. And then other writers are like, no, if you turn to a vampire, you deserve to die, and they're going to kill you. And like,
which I also feel like, I think that's like pretty spot on to how we are as a society. Like, look at COVID, and
Ooh.
I don't know. So I like that different perspectives because I feel like just that's how it is in everything.
It's like, can we turn back? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Not if you get the shot. Just kidding.
I was like, where are you coming from, Ambrosha? Like, what?
Guys, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Symbiotes, though.
Sorry. That's where I was going with that. Is that you know how like people have different perspective of like you're gonna turn into a vampire if you get the COVID shot, and
okay.
I don't know where the thing go. Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, I feel like you're on
it was great.
way different subreddits than I am.
I don't even have a Reddit.
Okay. Get Fury has been really good. I don't know. Maggie, did you read this? Get Fury? Number 2. Do you like it?
I do.
I hate Garth Ennis. I've said it before. I hate Garth Ennis, but he writes a really good, like, whatever this is.
Yeah. So the thing that I have to remind myself when I am reading Garth Ennis stuff is that Garth Ennis will write people to be the absolute worst people on the planet.
Yes.
Like, I feel like I'm not smart enough to keep up with this. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
at the
end?
Yeah.
Oh, it took me a minute. I was like, what are they saying?
I had to reread it like 10 times. I think I know what you're talking about. And that's the twist where they're like, oh, those 3 officers were gay. Did Fury...
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole thing. Yeah.
So they think that Nick Fury offed those guys.
Yeah.
But then maybe, was it Frank? But why would Frank do it? What? I don't know.
I think the premise is that, like, these higher-ups are trying to cover up bad activity in the Vietnam War. Because it's all a period piece. Ambrosia, I think you would really like this book, by the way. It's...
Oh, really?
I don't normally... Okay. Garth Ennis, I'm not a fan of. I also haven't read Preacher, and I heard Preacher's good. But I absolutely
Preacher's great.
I absolutely hate Garth Ennis.
Really?
Except for his Punisher Max comics. Because although there are egregious most of the time, they're still at a level that I'm like, oh shit, like I'm in on it. So this
And
one,
this feels like a rip right out of that.
yeah. Well, they're bringing like this is the first time Max Comics has been back for 10, 15 years. Like,
Yeah.
Marvel Max hasn't existed for so long, and they brought it back for this.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Didn't Garth Ennis also do The Boys? Or
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why you hate him. That makes sense.
I hate the Boys comic to the nth degree. I think that it shouldn't be like, I'm not there for censorship. When I say what I'm saying, it's not about censorship. I think it should be taken out of all like comic book stores. Like, I don't think there's a reason to sell it. I don't think there's a reason to read it. To watch the show, the Boys show is good.
Yeah.
So it's not that I don't like the concept. The Boys show is smart. The Boys comic is filth. It's garbage.
Okay, so I don't mean to get us sidetracked. Can you give us a little difference of, because I've watched the show, but I've never read the comics. So what is some of like the biggest difference for you to like the show and not the comic?
So the show doesn't have. I hate even talking about this scene because
I'm so sorry.
You flip the page and suddenly, like, so you deal with a lot of the same themes, but the idea of the show, the thesis is that like all these bad people doing bad things, but there's still an undercurrent of like good people could be around. But in the comics, there's like no such thing as a good person, unless you just don't have powers at all, and then maybe you're good and maybe you're not. But it like. Anyway, there's that. But in the comic, you just flip the page and suddenly you see 5 guys peeing into another guy's mouth that, like, they're part of a fraternity, superpowered fraternity or whatever. And, like, what? Like, it's... And it has no point other than to just do that. Like, then you have, like, kids, you know, being, like, the whole X-Men thing in the Boys comic is that they're all being sexually abused by the Professor X, like, and in the end, they just kill the kids because that's just, you got to get rid of all the X-Men, like, and they just like kill the kid. Like, I don't know, like, what's the point of that?
Yeah,
like, it's not just that it's gross; it's just gross and doesn't have a point.
No,
and so the
sense.
Boys comic is the one comic I absolutely like. I despise to the degree that like it's not about like different taste. It's just get that out of here.
Yeah. No, and that makes sense. And so I didn't realize that Garth Ennis was the one who was writing that, but he is also currently writing this book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's good.
Okay.
Which is like, you can have someone like that writing a Frank Castle story. Because, yeah, sure, put them in Vietnam and make all of the American characters racist as hell and, like, awful people, and, like, it's character acting. You know what I mean? But, yeah, when it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, I get that, for sure. It's...
Also, he wouldn't do that. He doesn't do the weird pee stuff in a Punisher comic. Like, he doesn't do that. So...
He just is overly violent, which is fine. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is.
That's where it's like, oh, different taste. Like, okay, whatever, you know?
Yeah.
But like a guy getting his head chopped multiple times by a machete in issue 1. Like,
yeah, that was wild.
Oh, like, I'm not saying I'm a fan, but I understand that happened in the book, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's...
Sometimes I flip a couple pages ahead just so I don't get shocked, because he likes to do that. Turn the page and you just see like eyeballs.
Like an eye.
Out. Yeah, it's like, come on, man. I get it. I'm not hating on that.
Yeah,
but
I like that kind of stuff, though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If it has a point, it has a point, right? Like Walking Dead will do that sometimes. Like a comic, you'll flip a page and it'll be like, I just got bit. You know, like. Kind of like it's the jump scare, but in a comic book medium. But this book, though, the twist I think at the end is they're saying, well, Nick Fury knew that the guys were gay, so he wouldn't have killed them and dropped them off at a brothel because he knew they were gay and he knew that wouldn't be a good cover-up. So somebody who killed them had to be somebody who wasn't privy to the fact that those 3 officers were gay. So instead of what they think is they think they sent Frank Castle to go kill Nick Fury, but now they're starting to be like, I think we just sent Frank Castle to team up with Fury, and that's going to cause problems for us.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting to. Is like Nick Fury knew too much, but like you can't. I don't know. Like Frank Castle is his own man. Like at the end of the day, like you can put him in whatever squad you want to, but like he's gonna do his own thing at the end of it. So yeah, I need more explanation on what happened, but I'm into it.
I had to reread it multiple times, that part.
Yeah, okay, I'm glad.
I was confused.
I'm glad that I wasn't the only one. I was like, what did I just read? Like, did they just say that Frank killed these people because they were gay? Like,
yeah,
that doesn't make sense. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
With you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good though. This book is good.
It's wild.
Also, there are some kills in this that happen off panel, which I think shows a reserve nature from Garth Ennis. Like, sure, previous issue you see the machete go through the guy's head, but then in this, when there's that Vietnamese officer, and Frank's gonna kill him.
Yeah,
he doesn't like punch a hole through his head, and we see. I
think what's interesting, I didn't really notice this like in the first issue either, but in this one, I feel like these different perspectives that we see kind of jumbled back and forth between like the guys in the office and then like Nick Fury and what he's got going on. Like, that's
and
really
then the old Vietnamese guy who's telling the story as an old man.
Yeah. So I think getting your different details and having to put together, it almost feels like you're there, like you're in another room getting information from different people. I mean, it's wild. It's a good time.
Credit where credit's due. For Garth Ennis on this one.
Yeah.
I don't 100% hate Garth Ennis. I just sometimes
Garth Ennis wrote a comic for TKO Studios called Sarah, which is about like a female sniper in Russia that you might like.
Okay.
Yeah. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. We're going to go through everything real fast. All right. Who read Blood Hunters #2? I only got halfway through.
I did.
Quick thoughts?
It was fine. Again, it's not what I thought of. It's more of like an anthology of where we have 3 different stories being told. We have Kate Bishop in here, which is fabulous because I love her. But yeah, it was good. 3 different stories of how people are taking down these vampires.
There are certain Kate Bishop stories where I do crush on Kate Bishop, and this one could be one of them. I do.
This one would be a big one. She's fabulous in here.
Yeah. Let's see. Ambrosia, let's hit your Star Wars comics. Star Wars 47.
Yes, if you are a Lando fan, this has been about Lando being on trial after the Dark Droids event. However, he just finished his trial. And so the next issue will be starting a whole new arc. So if you're interested in getting Star Wars, issue 48 will be a good one to get started on.
It's interesting because they finished a lot of Star Wars books. Like they ended recently. Like Star Wars Bounty Hunters ended. Dr. Aphra ended. But I was thinking that this run would end, and it's not. So
no. Well, yeah, I'll be curious. I don't know where they're really going to go with this, just because after Dark Droid, like this was a large portion of Star Wars events. But Charles Soule is writing it, and he is fabulous at his actual books as well as the comics.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see.
And
yeah, I forgot he did write that. Yeah. So I would hope that he does continue the writing.
Yeah. What about Star Wars: The High Republic #8?
Oh, I was halfway through that one too. That one was really good as well. It started off being really good. I fell off of it for a little while, so I was playing catch up today with it. But it's been fabulous with all the characters in there, and we have great new additions to that whole area. We were introduced to 2 new characters, and that have a really great story. So hopefully it continues as well.
I mean, I think I might jump back into the High Republic books because of the Acolyte that's out right now. So,
oh yeah,
because all takes place like, it doesn't mean it takes place in the same time period, but it's all High Republic related. So it also makes me want to make a High Republic Jedi robes, the white and the gold Jedi robes. So maybe I'll do that for San Diego Comic-Con. I'm gonna go through mine really quickly, and then I do want to hit Profane number 1. I think that might be the last one. I think I talked about Scarlet number 1. It's just really good. Batman 148. The art is amazing, and I liked this issue. I thought it was good. I don't think it's going to be everybody's cup of tea, but like they're gearing up and moving us towards absolute power. But it also, in this issue and like this run, it's been explaining why Batman's becoming so paranoid and everything, and so maybe they're getting Batman through this to make him more of a team player going forward, through the stuff that he's dealing with right now. The Ultimates number 1, I did not like it. It. And I've been hesitant with this new Ultimate Universe. The only good ones are Ultimate Spider-Man and Ultimate Black Panther. Ultimate Spider-Man's the best one. Ultimate Black Panther's pretty good. Ultimate X-Men is not what I want. It's not inherently bad, but it's not what I want out of an Ultimate X-Men book. And the Ultimates here was not. And I don't like the lineup. I think the lineup is really bland and boring. In this alternate universe, you still have Tony Stark, Captain America, Thor, Hank Pym, the Wasp. Like, okay, it's not different enough. Also, you have no characters of color whatsoever in a huge 8-person Ultimates team, which I think is interesting. We'll see what happens. Not a fan of that. What I am a fan of is Shazam 12. The Shazam books written by it was written by Mark Waid. Now we have a new writer who is still doing a really good job. And so there's been some changes to Shazam, but that's also been really good. My Adventures with Superman number 1. The show's really good. So like this comic takes place in between seasons 1 and 2. And it's really cute. And if you like it, you like it. And if you, it has that same vibe. Superman Renaissance is real. Jason Aaron is doing a new run of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles coming up, so I wanted to pick up this alpha issue, and it was whatever, bogged down by continuity. That's my fault for thinking it was going to be fresh and new. It was cool, but it wasn't really my cup of tea. But I will be picking up Jason Aaron's new run when it comes out. But last but not least, I do want to see Profane, or talk about Profane, because I don't know what it's about.
It's a good time. I'm a huge mark for Boom Studios. I'll read any number 1 that they put out. Profane is a murder mystery about a detective who has some memory issues. He doesn't really know much about his own history. He will black out and wake up in different parts of his investigation. He discovers that he shares the same name as the main character of a book written by an author that he's investigating. So there's this big twist at the end where he discovers that he is the main character. And he doesn't know how his story is going to end. So
it's like a Stranger Than Fiction sort of thing, like the author is writing reality for him.
Yes, except the author will not be able to finish his story. So
the author's dead.
Yeah, croaked, offed.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a fun little twist this whole time, it gives these really cheesy one-liners from film noir, detective movies. You know what I mean? So this whole time you're like, this is kind of cheesy, and then you get this nice little twist, and you're like, oh, okay, refreshing. So good time, murder mystery, dead bodies. That's your thing. Not too gory though.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I like this. Has there been a resurgence of noir? as a genre recently, because I feel like I've just been seeing more noir stuff, and I like it. It's good.
Like, yeah, I don't know. This is we don't have time to get into this, but if either of you have watched Sugar on Apple TV, this reminds me of that.
Okay. Is it worth watching?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Exactly.
I'll look into Sugar.
Colin Farrell.
Interesting. The Acolyte to me is a noir. It's like Star Wars noir.
Oh, cool.
And that's kind of the vibe I've been getting from the Acolyte, is like kind of noir tropes. So it seems to me that like noir is bleeding into a lot of genres lately, a lot of different mediums. Yeah. So, all right. I think that's all the books that we read this week. Was there anything that we didn't touch on? I think we got everything.
I think that was everything.
All right. Thank you guys so much for coming on this episode and chatting. Both of you are amazing. But you already know that.
So are you.
You know. Well, maybe. Before we get going, where can we find you? What do you got coming up? Anything you want to plug? Maggie. We'll go first.
You're gonna make me go first. I don't have a whole lot going on right now. I'm on summer break with my son, so I'm just reading comics and having a good time. But I am on all social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, at Vegan Super Cake, and you can follow my store Toy Vomit on social media as well.
Awesome. Cool. Ambrosia?
That is a mean store name, Toy Vomit. That is fabulous. I love that so much.
Thank you.
You can find me on TikTok at Comics and Cupcakes. And I am slowly but surely trying to get my life back together in organizing comics and trying just to get back onto the swing of things. So
Fair. For anyone out there who wants to follow me personally, you can find me at This Is Dimithri on all social media. Dimithri. But if you're looking for Keeg related stuff, you can find us on social media, TikTok and Instagram at The Keeg Show. We're also on Facebook, Threads, Twitter, all that, at The Keeg Show / The Keeg Show, whatever. If you're watching us live, you're watching us on twitch.tv / The Keeg Show or youtube.com / The Keeg Show, or maybe you're listening to the podcast wherever you get your podcast from, whether it's Apple Podcasts or Spotify or iHeartRadio or Audible, Amazon Music, SoundCloud. We're on all of those. Find us there. Let us know you're out there. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, write a review. If you are listening to us and we don't know you're listening to us, please let it be known. We want to know, you know. This show is Comic Talk, and it's just one of the many shows that we have on the Keeg. But this is our most consistent show because we do Comic Talk every Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. But we also have other shows. We have a new Acolyte after show called The Acolyte Tonight. And that is on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. That's after you watch the new episode right when it comes out, and then you hop on here and you watch The Acolyte Tonight. We also got the Keeg Talks on the weekends, and we have State of X every month. It's our monthly mutant catch-up, so that's going to be this Monday, you know, if anyone's tuning in, you know, and wants to stay up to date with X-Men stuff. So we got a lot coming up, but yes, find us on social media, do all that stuff. Patreon.com / The Keeg Show. That's also a thing. ComicShopLocator.com. If you want to find a comic shop near you, go to that website, find a comic shop near you, find one that you vibe with, support your local comic shops, and also support public education, support public libraries. I've been recommending public libraries to like get into comics because they got a lot of comics there. And that's how I got into comics, and I read a lot of comics at the library when I was a kid, and it put me on this path. So I guess it depends on whether you want to be on this path or not. If you want to end up like me, go to your library. If you don't, still go to your library. Just choose better choices. That's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for coming on. Maggie, Ambrosia. Thank you, everybody out there, for watching and or listening. Once again, I'm your host, Dimithri Perera, and this has been Comic Talk for the week of June 6th, 2024. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.